Hey, welcome to section 2 of building of our award-winning cylinder heads here. These things, like I said, we've won multiple championships, and now we've got to the point we're going to go to the flow bench and give you some flow bench numbers and show you what we do from there on in the finishing up of this product. Welcome. So let's see what we picked up in numbers in doing one of these heads and setting it up with all of our modifications that we do to it. Once again, we're going to start at 100. We didn't hear any of that choppy air or that reverberation in the port, which is a really good sign on there. And our numbers are up here, 176. We've picked up. So when I've been talking about CC in the cylinder head, what we want to make sure is our combustion chambers are exactly the same in each cylinder. That way we can make sure the compression ratio is identical in every cylinder and the engine's going to be running nice and smooth and have the proper power output. So I have my graduated cylinder here that I've filled to 0, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill this chamber just right there. It's not going over the edge. I watch the edge there till it just quits, and then what I do is I read this to see how much fluid I put in there, and then what I'll do is I'll record that, and I will machine the head a little bit more to get that to exactly where I want it. I will do both of them to make sure that they are the same, and then when I machine it, I will get it to exactly what the customer wants. Nice. And the final thing we do here, we do a little witness on this when we're doing the first head, but after everything's set, we cut all our seats, we put in our manley valves, and we're going to put a little lapping compound on them and put them in and lap them into place. Then we use our little suction cup on the valve. We can see our nice seat. So we come to the point now where we have our cylinder head. It's in our head fixture here, so we can assemble this with our springs and stuff. We have our springs laid out here, our keepers, different thicknesses of spring shims. We're going to show you how we use those. And we have our valve spring tester here, so we're going to set up that we can set these springs all to the right height and the right tension that we want to have. So the first thing that we want to do in the assembly process of these heads is we want to inspect our installed height of our valve. And that retainer, and I'm going to record that measurement. So I've done all my measuring here now, and kind of interesting how close we are on our machining when we do our seats. If we look at our exhaust valves, 730, 725, those seats within 5/1000ths of an inch. If you're using a seat grinder, you're not going to get that close because we can't grind within 5/1000ths of an inch. It's just too hard, and we don't get the same finish we do on the seat that we do when we use our Surdy seat cutters. So proper tooling becomes really essential in the right areas. On our Volkswagen heads, we cannot machine this boss at all. It's part of our rules. So we have to be careful what we do there. We can put shims in here to shim this spring up. That's not a problem. Put a hardened shim in here first. If we don't put a hardened shim down in below there, then all of our shims that we install are going to wear into the soft aluminum on the head. These shims have grooves in them. And it says this side up. Most people don't understand why that is. What these grooves do, these allow oil to flow through them and keep the heat out of the valve spring. So I don't care if I put 5 or 6 of these in there to get the spring tightened the right tension, because all these grooves are going to allow a little bit of oil through there, and that's going to keep the heat from coming up inside of my spring. So this is our valve spring tester that we will use to set our valve spring tensions. We'll set them according to our installed height that we've already pre-measured on this engine. So I've got my hardened shim in here. These numbers are a little hard to see, but so if I pull this down, you can see my reddening, and I'm going up to about 84 pounds there. That's reading. Not quite enough. £100, right on. So that spring will get installed with that shim package that's in there. Will go on the head. That will get it installed at that height. I'm going to show you. Make sure they're all the way down in. I still have lots of boss sticking up in here for my spring. My spring can't move around. It can't move. The shims can't move. They're sitting against the boss. So I'm in no fear at all of those shims going anywhere and causing me any problems at all. So now that spring is installed at its proper installed height to give me the 100 pounds of seat pressure that I want on this head. This head will be able to go out and run 6,500 RPM and not have any problem with valve float because of the quality of the spring we use. Well, thank you for being with us through the building of these cylinder heads, and hopefully you've got something out of it and you've enjoyed it and you've learned something. Feel free to give us a call or contact us at Dinsmore Racing if you need any cylinder heads or you need any work done, or even we'll answer questions for you. We're always here to help the racer. That's what we're here for, and our knowledge is something that we're welcome to share. Okay, thanks a lot.